The final week of 2023's astrology is upon us, and let me tell you, this season finale of this year is giving drama, it's giving chaos, it's giving fun, but it's most certainly giving ending the year out with a bang. Hi, my name is Haley Comet, and welcome to Just Your Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrological forecast for the week of the last week of 2023, December 25th to December 31st, 2023, but every other week for that matter, whether it is 2023 or 2024, we will gather here in my cosmic corner of the internet with a celestial beverage in hand to give you the lowdown on the week's astrology that you are stepping into or reflecting upon, to let you know what cosmic cycles are playing out and how you can co-create with these rhythms in order to navigate your universe with maximum alignment and magic, moving in synchrony with the cosmos rather than fighting against it, which is going to be important when it comes to this week's astrology because there are some potential pitfalls and challenges that I'm going to advise you to stay away from. So what are these pitfalls and challenges? Firstly, we have a Cancer full moon on December 26th. So just the lunar aspects to this full moon are actually quite supportive. The moon is in rulership. It trines Saturn, which is helping us stabilize the deep emotions that we are feeling. It sextiles Jupiter, so we could be feeling more optimistic, reflective, nostalgic. Of course, moon in rulership, we're going to feel every spectrum of emotion more intensely, but it does feel for a lot of us, there can be some really strong feelings of love and togetherness this week with the Cancer full moon and with Venus trine Neptune. And you might be saying, Haley Comet, this is sounding very cuddly. This is sounding very cozy. Where's the drama? Where's the chaos? Let's get into it. So firstly, this week's astrology, we are now in Act 2 of Mercury retrograde. As I highlighted last week, there are two distinct tones of Mercury retrograde and one that is a little easier to work with than the other. We have now entered the more chaotic phase of this Mercury retrograde now that Mercury is in the sign of its detriment and it's making some interesting aspects this week. So we know that emotions are running high with that Cancer full moon. We know that those emotions might be all over the spectrum. Some of us could be brimming with just gratitude and appreciation and nostalgia. And some of us could be really dealing with some sadness that could be coming to the surface. We know the energy of Cancer. It is a sign that is associated with the past. So you could be reflecting on holiday seasons of past iterations of you, missing what it is that you used to have. You can be feeling more sensitive. And adding to that, we also have Mercury, who again is not particularly dignified right now, aligning with Mars. And so because we are a little bit more emotionally incensed, we are more likely to verbally react. So we can have more going on mentally and we could be more apt to react verbally. And the thing is, Mercury aligns with Mars. So yes, we are sharper tongued, but with the square to Neptune, we might be reacting to something where we don't even know the full story because we know Mercury's retrograde, so there can be a need to review events that transpire at this time, and there can be certain details that are shrouded in mystery with Mercury squaring Neptune, whether we are misunderstanding the situation, whether we are reading into it because of our own sensitivity, whether there's been like a game of telephone that went awry. We are not understanding the full complexities of the situation. But with Mercury Mars, we're still talking about it anyway. You can clap back at, the cashier who's just ringing up your groceries when they tell you that you must be really tired because you think they're coming for your appearance and you've had a really long week and you don't want to hear it right now, but they actually meant because you're buying a ton of coffee. And now you look silly because you were sassy for no reason. You misunderstood what could have been a more innocuous comment. So with Mercury Mars, there is an energy where we're going to want to react and snap back, particularly verbally. But the challenge of this week is to take that beat, understand, hey, Mercury's retrograde, Mercury squaring Neptune, perhaps I'm not hearing this information correctly. Perhaps my cashier is actually commenting that I am buying 3 things of cold brew rather than coming for my appearance. Sometimes if we're feeling insecure about something, we could project that onto a situation. And with Mercury Mars, you can find that shortly after those words come out of your mouth, you're like, ooh, that had a little bit more of a bite to it. It's important to highlight Mars within astrology is the planet of weaponry. And with Mercury Mars, our words are a weapon. And yes, they might be rooted within the truth, the energy of Sagittarius, but the truth's a little foggy this week with Mercury and Mars squaring off with Neptune. So the magic of this week to be able to tap into all of that loving energy that I was chatting with you about, that grateful energy that I was chatting with you about, it's super important to take that beat before you react, before you snap back, before you clap back. Take a beat, take a breath, because it's important to know that once words come out, you do not get a do-over. You cannot put them back in. So you're going to want to be intentional with what it is that you say and where it is that you direct your mental and verbal energy towards this week. So my loves, as we do every single week, we will discuss this week's astrology thematically as well as day by day. But before we do, my loves, what are you sipping on to start this week's of astrology, to start the last week of 2023 at that? We have a lot of Neptune energy this week, and with Neptune energy, you can find that you're a little sleepy. You could feel your mind is a little elsewhere, a little dreamy. You could be more absent-minded. So I just want to tell you to be realistic about your expectations. If you're planning to get all of the work done and all of the cleaning done, Neptune energy is great for dreaming, for contemplating, for resting, for getting lost in a movie, for getting lost in an album. But you can find that you're feeling a little bit less interested as it relates to reports and to-dos and errands. Your drink options for Neptune weeks, you might lean into the rest and the kind of dreamy energy of Neptune. Maybe some of you are off work and you're sipping a mimosa, enjoying your time off. Maybe some of you are dialing into the more spiritual components of the Neptune energy, drinking something that is calming and peaceful. Maybe you do have things to do this week, so you need to counteract the Neptune with some caffeine. Let me know what you are sipping on, where you fall in within that. I am drinking a cup of coffee with some peppermint bark creamer. It is absolutely delightful. And since we're all gathered within the Cosmic Corner, I just want to take this opportunity. I don't know if it's the Cancer full moon that's making me so sappy or just the last week of the year, but I just want to thank you so much for whichever role you have played in supporting this channel. Even if this is your first time as a patron to the Cosmic Cafe, the first time within the Cosmic Corner, or if you've been watching Magic Monday for a while now, I just want to thank you so much for your support. It is truly the most special gift to hear that I'm part of some of your weekly routines. Some of you may know I'm a Virgo moon and rising, so I'm all about my routines. And I truly do not take it for granted that you use some of your precious time and energy here within the Cosmic Corner. I love being able to guide you through every single week's astrology. I just want to thank you all. It's been a really magical year. It's been a lot of growth. I'm kind of overwhelmed at the growth, honestly. Like, we just hit 30K, and I think at the time of filming this, it's 35K, which is good news, but I'm just like overwhelmed because I swear there used to just be like 6 of us chilling in the Cosmic Cafe every week, and now it's like, I don't know who's watching this, but I'm happy that you're here regardless. But I just want to say thank you so much for such a magical 2023, for whichever role you played, whether you watched Magic Monday, you liked a video, you commented on a video, you bought a reading from me, you bought a gift card, you joined for one of the self-care astrology classes. This was such a magical year, and it's all thanks to you all. I adore the people who I get to connect with off of this channel. I don't think it's a coincidence that everybody that I get to know who finds my channel is like really cool. Maybe I'm biased, but I always vibe with you all when I get the opportunity to chat and connect with you all. And so I just feel so honored to be able to carve this cosmic safe space. I hope that you always feel safe to start your week here, that this can just be kind of like a cosmic escape from the external world, help provide clarity and nuance for themes that you are currently navigating through. I thank you so much for 2023, and I'm looking forward to an equally magical 2024. So this cup of coffee with peppermint bark creamer goes out to y'all. Cheers. But now that I'm done being sappy, let's move on to the next segment within Magic Monday. So the next segment is called Vibe Check of the Week. So this is a segment on Magic Monday where we demystify the cosmos. We essentially take all of those energies that I was chatting with you about, as well as the other astrological energies we haven't even got to when it comes to this week's astrology. Chiron Direct, Jupiter Direct, the Cancer full moon, Mercury and Mars squaring up with Neptune. We essentially take all of that energy and compare it to a real life scenario, so that even if you don't have the knowledge around what aspects mean, what does it mean if the planet stations direct, what does it mean that we have have a full moon in the sign of its rulership, you can begin to tune into a real life example. You can be like, oh yeah, I've been in a situation like that. Or in this week's example, oh yeah, I've been to a dinner party like that. So this week's vibe check, what this week's astrology feels like. If we were translating astro speak into real life speak, this week's astrology feels like a dinner party, and a dinner party gone awry. Wow, my earring just like tumbled out for dramatic effect. I don't even know how that happened. Mercury retrograde, my gosh, the snafus that I've already been experiencing this far into Mercury retrograde. I would love to hear what's been coming up in your alls. Has this one been particularly kind of brutal for you all as well? I'm so curious, but alas, let's get into the vibe check. So a dinner party. We'll say for the sake of the vibe check that this is a dinner party with some old friends for college. You can fill in the blank, old friends from an old city that you used to live in, from an old job. You're getting together with people that you have not seen in a while. For some people, maybe family. Of course, it's a Cancer full moon theme, absolutely. But you're getting together at this dinner party. And the vibes are good. There's delicious food. There's a lot of love in the air. You all are reminiscing on past memories and just really cherishing this feeling of togetherness. And then it just so happens that you and your friend, we'll say for the sake of the vibe check, Ariel, we'll say that you and Ariel get in this debate, because whenever I think of Mercury, Mars, especially when they're placed in the sign Sagittarius, I always think of debating energy, because like I said, Mercury on Mars, how it is that we get what we want, that's Mars, and how it is that we could get what we want this week is via our words, Mercury, or at least our attempt to get what it is that we want. So if we want to get our way, we can be more apt to challenge others to a mental or verbal debate to communicate our own perspective. We could be more persuasive this week. We can have more ideas this week. And so it just so happens that you and Ariel get in this debate at this dinner party, and it's all in good fun. We know the Mercury-Mars conjunction lands in Sagittarius, which is a very blunt energy, surely, but it's also very funny. So the vibes are high. Everybody's laughing. Maybe there's some wine being drank. Maybe there's some snacks being eaten. And the two of you are having this debate about school uniforms, around whether or not we should all have to wear the same thing when we go to school. Again, you guys are not in school any longer, but maybe Ariel has a child. So that's why you guys are having this conversation, is around, is it fair to have uniforms? Is it not fair? And you feel that people should be able to express themselves in the way that they want. You feel like it's not fair to stifle people's originality and creativity by expecting them to wear the same thing as everybody else. And Ariel feels quite differently. She's like, the purpose of being there is education. Why does it matter what you wear? And it creates all sorts of socioeconomic pressures on the kids when they don't have clothes that other people have, and then they don't have to think about it in the morning. They could just put on a uniform. And so it all starts in good fun. But then the debate is just kind of getting more and more heated. And again, sometimes the downside of Mercury and Sagittarius is that there can be an energy around being on our own soapbox and not being able to see outside of our own perspective and what we consider true. And so the vibes are getting more and more heated. And then finally, you're like, well, Ariel, of course you would say that they should wear uniforms because you don't know how to dress. And then all of a sudden the dinner party goes quiet. And you're like, oh my gosh. And Ariel starts crying because, like I said, even though the Cancer full moon honestly is pretty positive, it can make us more sensitive or more responsive. And what you meant to say was not what came out, and it certainly was not what Ariel heard. What you meant to say was, you're not somebody who is particularly enthused about fashion, so that would probably save you a lot of time and energy if you put on a uniform, but there are other people who are more passionate about fashion. That's what you meant. What Ariel heard is, you don't know how to dress. So of course you would say that because you don't know how to dress and nobody likes what it is that you're wearing. Again, sometimes we can be a little bit more sensitive and read into what is being said. And so as you take Ariel aside and like apologize and say, hey, that came out way too blunt. I'm so sorry. I was caught up in the heat of the moment. I just really wanted to win that debate. I am so sorry. You learn that Ariel has actually been feeling really sensitive about her style. She's been trying to figure out her aesthetic. She feels feels like nothing looks good on her. So that was already something that she was sensitive about. So when you kind of fired off on her, it just kind of pinged at a sensitive part within her. But again, with two planets moving direct this week, Chiron and Jupiter, there is this energy around the two of you are able to move forward because of this essentially argument. It's not the sort of dinner party where it leaves and you guys never, talk to one another ever again, or it creates utter chaos, like a Real Housewives type beat, right? Those dinner parties always get wild. Okay, it doesn't quite go there, but you guys are able to move forward. You're like, gosh, Ariel, now I completely understand where it is that you're coming from. I didn't realize that was such a struggle that you've been navigating, trying to figure out what looks flattering on your body. I didn't realize that you'd been struggling so much with your confidence. And the two of you hug it out and you guys are stronger as a result, and your friendship is stronger as a result. Again, it's so important to remind ourselves with Mercury squaring Neptune. Yes, this can be an energy around deceit. This can be an energy around details being fogged. We'll talk about other nuances of this particular square, but I do want to share that with Mercury square Neptune, there can be reading into what is not being said or reading into what is being said, finding other manifestations, hearing something that was not said. And with Mercury Mars, you can find that your mouth is working faster than your logic. And that's why it's super important as you communicate, as you share, as you challenge a friend to a debate at a dinner party, that you are expressing yourself through the lens of integrity and not, taking cheap shots or punching below the belt or being sassy just because you're feeling sensitive about something. Again, there could be energies this week where we are feeling a little bit more reactive, but with the square to Neptune, we're more reactive because it's something that we're sensitive to. We're more reactive because we're misunderstanding what the other person is hearing. We're more reactive because of details to the situation that are shrouded in mystery. So it's important when navigating this week, whether you're on the receiving end, somebody's a little sassy with you, or you accidentally blurt out something that you did not intend to, it's super important to just be intentional this week and really strive not to read into things. Strive for clarity. It's always hard with Neptune weeks, okay? Things get a little murky and emotions are part of the equation. And we never see things or hear things completely clearly when emotions are strongly indicated within the week's horoscope. So we will be diving into this energy day by day, letting you know what you can expect in this grand finale of 2023's astrology. I want to let you know all timestamps are below, just in case you want to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day. You're welcome to speed me up or slow me down via YouTube's playback speed option. And all times that I mention are PST, as I'm located in California. So please ensure to adjust the times and the dates that I mentioned to your time zone, as they very well may land at a different time for you, even on a different day for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Monday, December 25th. So on Monday, December 25th, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. And if you do not celebrate Christmas, I want to wish you a very Merry Mercury trine Neptune, which all of us do get the opportunity to celebrate on Monday. And this is such ideal, loving astrology for a holiday. A lot of astrologers assert that Neptune is actually the higher octave of Venus, as they both are very loving energies. Venus is obviously the planet of love, and Neptune has to do with that compassionate, selfless, spiritual love. When you're able to really connect soul to soul and really allow any sort of resentment or bitterness to melt away, just being able to connect to the soul space and just enjoy time spent with one another is the energy of Venus trine Neptune. It also gives this very artistic look over the day, so photos could come out really lovely. There's this desire to really want to enjoy and soak up the memories. And there's also this awareness, because Neptune within astrology, it is the planet that governs screens, mirrors, and cameras. And so with Venus trine Neptune, certainly the photos could come out really, really beautiful, but also there feels to be this acknowledgement around, as you're taking photos, that awareness around, oh, this will be a memory one day. And this desire to really just soak in and be present within that moment, just really seeking to drink it up. Do you ever have that moment when you're taking a photo and you're like, whoa, this will be a memory one day, right? And with Venus trine Neptune, there can be this desire to just really want to melt and merge into the experience, whether it's delicious food, the love around us, the presence. We'll get into that with Venus trine Neptune. But there is this desire to merge into our circumstances. Now keep in mind, on Monday, the moon will be in Gemini all day. So the Gemini moon is answering to Mercury, who is currently building to square Neptune and conjoin Mars. So you might need to kind of pull your attention back a little bit. Be like, no, we're not going to worry about all that we have to do later. We're not going to worry about the returns or what have you. Let's just pull our energy back and just lose ourselves within this moment. This is a great day to relax, to go slow, to be around beauty. If you're not celebrating the holiday with Venus trine Neptune, watching lots of movies, being out in nature. This is a day to really merge and find the beauty, find the love, find the harmony that exists around you. Yes, Gemini moon, we might have a lot of thoughts. And if you observe yourself reading into the future, what it is that you have to do, pull yourself back, be here now, indulge in the unique pleasure and beauty and enjoyment that exists only within this present moment. Whatever it is that is in your awareness, whatever it is that is on your mind around what it is that you need to get to, or what it is that is bothering you about work, or how you need to fix something within your house. Again, there's always going to be something that will pull you out of the present moment. Like, there will never be a moment in life when everything feels perfect. Just gently pull yourself back to the unique gift that is this present moment. Even if there are certain traditions where it's like, well, I always celebrate with these people. Yeah, but this is the only particular holiday with your kids being the precise age that they are right now. And you don't know how many more holidays that you have with family members who are older than you. Like, it's just important to honor the love that exists within our life, because that is the sweetest gift than anything that would exist under a tree. And there's something about Monday's astrology, just with our mind pulling us elsewhere, but the love kind of planting us firmly here, that I just want to highlight. Have you ever had a certain situation that you were like so panicked about, or was consuming a lot of the time and energy from you, so much so that it was kind of leaking into some beautiful memories that now when you look back, you don't remember whatever work problem was on your mind, or how your friends left you out of that thing, or that person who, ghosted you or broke up with you. You don't remember any of that. You're like, why were you not present when your nephew was that age? Or why were you not present when you were spending time with that family member? Why were you so bogged down in things that now from distance, we don't even remember the stuff? Because one thing about life is there's always stuff. It's really bothersome. There will always be something around the house that likely should be fixed. There will always be an errand that needs to get done. There will always be some company that you need to call to seek clarification or to figure something out. There's always going to be something on the horizon. There will never be a time and space in life in which you could just be like, I have nothing else to do, unless you live in a monastery and you meditate all day. And if you do, this is a great week for that with all of this Neptune energy. But if we do not, there will always be something. You have to be intentional around compartmentalizing your life to just be like, hey, the errands and the work projects, they just need to exist on a different day than right now. Right now, I just need to be super present and just soak up this particular experience, this particular stage of my growth, this particular stage of my family, of my friendships. All around us, things are shifting and evolving in tiny microscopic ways a lot of times, and we tend to think that this life is static because we're so caught up in the small matters of it all, where there will always be small matters of it all. So you have to be intentional around just being like, okay, I'm going to be fully here off my phone, just really dialed into the company of who it is that I'm surrounded by, because it could be so frustrating when you think back to certain memories and you're like, you were so absorbed by small, not important details around what this person was doing, or this person didn't text you, or this work problem, or how this happened, or what have you. You're so absorbed by these small things that we don't even remember what you were so worried about, so much so that you were missing these big picture things that you were taking for granted, and that was the important thing that was transpiring. Like for me, I just think of this afternoon. I was shopping with my grandma. My grandma was a Virgo moon, just like me. So we love a deal. Okay, we love a deal. So we were shopping at Ross, and I just remember I got this work email and it was just so stressing me out. I think I've shared a little bit that I had this really, really stressful job where I was just always on eggshells around the individual that I worked for, and I just felt like I had to drop everything whenever I got any sort of email. It was like a freelance contract, so I was like always on, and I had no boundaries at all. I was always checking my email. I was always maybe physically somewhere, but mentally elsewhere. And I got a really scary email when I was at Ross, and I just remember that entire afternoon I was just so absorbed on what am I going to say, what am I going to do to fix it. And now, like, that problem turned out to be not a big one. I don't work for that individual any longer. I was absorbed in something that turned out to be not a big deal. Meanwhile, that was like the last time I got to shop with my grandma. Oh my God, the Cancer full moon. I can't do this right now. I can't. But what I want to say is that obviously physically I was still there with her. I was driving with her. I was helping her pick out shirts and shoes, and we were having fun together and we were having conversations. But I just remember how much I was checking my phone and just so consumed and worried about this, something that a couple years later, it's like not that big a deal. There's always going to be a work emergency. There's always going to be something to be worried about or to be upset about, or something that's going to pull you into a different moment rather than the one that is playing out. And I'm not saying you need to be like fearful or morbid when you're spending time with people, because we truly don't know. And it's not that you should like live your life in fear, like, oh, what if this is the last time that we go to Ross together or anything of that nature. I just share that to say it's important to take opportunities to just be fully present, just leave the to-dos for another day. Be present within this moment. Really soak in the love that exists within the connections around you. Again, you could have the same holiday with the same people next year, but there's always going to be small nuances and facets of it that are different. Like whenever we think of Neptune, it's a very photographic sort of energy, and it's like you guys can gather perhaps in the same home with the same people, but there's going to be small subtle changes. The kids get a little bit older, even you change, right? Now you have green hair. This is the first holiday season that you are self-employed. Like, photos are a great reminder. Like, we could try to recreate things, but there's always differences. Things in very subtle ways are evolving and shifting. So just asking for you to be really present in these memories as they unfold, understanding that one day, this particular day, will be a, photograph that you look back on or a memory that you reflect upon. So just really calling your energy back if you do observe that it is going elsewhere. And I'm so sorry, guys. I always tap into the energy as I'm reading it, and I just really feel like with this Cancer full moon, there can just be some emotions that are surfacing. And I do feel like a lot of the gifts this year may be more sentimental or nostalgic with Venus trine Neptune. There can be things that are given that are quite sweet. But again, if you're like bringing into this holiday season, if you are celebrating like, oh, I wish there was more gifts under the tree, or I wish I was able to provide a bigger holiday for my kids, just remembering that it's so not about the gifts. Like, it's nice, and I do feel like with Venus trine Neptune, there can be some very sweet nostalgic gifts, but you're going to remember the tradition. Like, if you even think about when you were little, like you probably don't remember the exact doll that you got when you were 5, but you remember putting cookies out for Santa. You likely don't remember whether or not you got Barbie's dream house when you were 7, but you remember the traditions, like you remember everybody coming together. So just paying attention to what matters is what I want to say. And with the Gemini moon, there can be a lot of thoughts and a lot of energy around, oh, this work project, and oh, I should have gotten more, or oh, is that the wrong size, or what have you. Remember, this will be a memory one day. So be here now, soak it up now. And so if you're not celebrating the holiday, this is a great day to relax. This is a great day to indulge. Like, honestly, the Gemini moon opposes Mars and squares Neptune, so it kind of activates that building story. And so you could feel more lazy, you could feel more dreamy. Again, with Venus trine Neptune, we're in the mood to feel good. You could feel more inspired as it relates to your fashion. You could feel more inspired as it relates to your art. You can get lost in nature. You can get lost in church or a service of some sort. Again, the energy of Neptune can be tapping into divine love. It could be a great day for altruism. Again, you can feel more loving as it relates to humanity, people around you, spirit. And just remembering that the beauty is in the unfolding. It's not about the end result. If you go on a hike, it's not about getting back to your car, right? That's not the goal. When it comes to, holiday season, it's not about the end of the day when everything's done and all the, gifts are given out. It's not about, finishing that art project. The beauty is in the unfolding. The beauty is around that muse sensation when we really become one with our environment and when we lose ourselves within what it is that we love. That's the energy of Venus trine Neptune. For some of you, that could be art. For some of you, that can be who it is that you love. For some of you, that could be nature or connecting with spirit. But there's just a real nudge on Monday to just get lost in what it is that you love and to know there's nowhere that you need to get to. The process of getting there is the quality of being there. Enjoy the process. Enjoy things as they are unfolding. Enjoy the hike as you're on it. Enjoy the creation of that song. Enjoy the making of these memories. Be here now. And so also on Monday, there's this invitation for real playfulness. And we see this with the Gemini moon, which again can be this curious, chatty energy, but it's also lighthearted. It can also be this youthful curiosity around life and this playfulness as it relates to life. And that could be something that is healing. And we see that with the Gemini moon sextile Chiron in Aries at 421. If you happen to have children and you're able to, give them experiences that you weren't able to have when you were younger, that can be a very healing experience. It can be something that helps heal your own inner child. And again, with Chiron energy, because Chiron does station direct the following day, we could be more sensitive. Like I'm here crying in the cosmic corner, tapping into this energy, okay? We could feel more sensitive. There could be some spiky emotions coming up. Sometimes you could be wanting to be present within this holiday that you're putting on for your little ones, but there are certain spiky emotions around, oh, I wish I was able to experience things like this. I wish I was able to be loved in the way that I'm, loving my children or what have you. And I just see with Gemini moon sextile Chiron Aries, giving yourself the gift of being able to see this world and this holiday through fresh eyes, being able to engage with that kind of playfulness if that energy is available to you. Even if you don't have kids, honoring your own inner child, doing things that are seasonal and lighthearted, wearing the, Christmas pajamas, drinking the hot chocolate, whatever it is that just kind of makes you feel like a little kid again. There's kind of a vibe about that on Monday, and that can be healing. The Gemini moon will oppose Mars and square Neptune in the evening time, so if you eat a big meal, you could be just exhausted after. Again, I would not expect to be very productive on Monday. There's definitely an energy around just wanting to get lost within the moment. You could feel more drained and more kind of sluggish, a little bit more exhausted. And then that evening, the Gemini moon will oppose Mercury in Sagittarius. So just being cautious because Mercury's retrograde around misunderstandings, miscommunications, things of that nature that can be more likely to occur in the evening time. And at that point, so 11:55 p.m. PDT, the moon is void until it enters Cancer the next morning. So on Tuesday, the moon will enter the sign of the full moon, Cancer, at 7:15 a.m. and the full moon will exact at 4:33 p.m. PST. So let's get into the nuances of this lunation. So the full moon is landing in its own sign, Cancer. And so the moon is mooning, okay? The moon is mooning its mooniest moon. In that when we have the moon in rulership, we feel things more intensely. We feel the widest spectrum of emotion existing and coming to the surface within. There can be a lunar spotlight on how it is that we feel. Particularly, you'll want to look at where in your chart you have 4 degrees Cancer. There can be an illumination around how it is that you feel within that arena, or nice illuminations around it. For some of us, there can be, because the lunation trine Saturn and Pisces, there can be an acknowledgement around something that you have been working towards that you are proud of. Because it's important to highlight that when we talk about the Cancer full moon and the sun in Capricorn, it's important to have both the external success or prestige or whatever it is that we want to build within the external world, but that means nothing if it is not matched with internally feeling proud of yourself. I've shared this in Magic Monday before, and I apologize for the souls who have been rocking with me for Magic Monday for a while and have probably heard this quote 4 or 5 times, but I love it so. The quote is, "The root of all ambition is to be happy at home." And to me, what always sticks out within that quote is just to be at home within your self, right? To not feel that energy around being proud of yourself and being able to sit with yourself, knowing that you won't find that in the external world. Home base is always going to be here. And so for some of you, that can indicate like creating a happy home, if that is a path that you are taking, like being able to build the ambitions that allow you that space for rejuvenation and love that you are creating within the home environment. But also, if that is not the path that you've taken, it's also this illumination around the root of everything that you do and the career that you build and the goals that you select and the ambition that you create is to be able to be happy with yourself. It's not waiting there. The goalposts will continually move. As we talked about a couple weeks prior, there's always another mountaintop. There's always another thing that we could be doing. There's always someone else who's doing a little bit better than us. The root of all ambition is to be happy at home, to select goals that you have selected for yourself that mean something to you, to be able to, at the end of the day, whether you're devoting your life to building a family, to altruism, to creative endeavors, to building a business, whatever it is, the root of all of that is to be able, at the end of the day, to be at peace within your own soul, to feel proud of yourself and what it is that you have created, because it is not waiting at the next milestone. And I know some of you may know people like that who have made their life about money and are still miserable, or have made their life about fame and are still unhappy. They're still not at home within themselves. So when it comes to this illumination, it's an illumination around, yes, we deserve to reach our goals, to ascend to the mountaintops, whatever it is, to become the best version of yourself, the best mother, the best father, the best creator, the best business person, the best singer, whatever it is that you have selected for yourself. You are so worthy of ascending to all of those heights, of all of that untapped potential that exists within you. But that feeling of feeling at home and feeling proud of yourself and feeling at peace, it's not waiting there for you. Again, the process of getting there is the quality of being there. You have to enjoy the process. You have to be able to be at ease and at peace with yourself. It is not waiting once you reach the next goal. And when it comes to the Cancer full moon, there can be an illumination for some of you around just having this moment where it's like, I'm proud of myself. Like I'm proud of myself and what it is that I have created, what it is that I've overcome. That's the thing. We talk about Capricorn. A lot of times we think of it as like business and CEO and all the things, but it's also like, I'm proud of myself because I know more than anyone else knows in this world the trials and tribulations that I had to overcome. And Cancer can be a more nostalgic, reflective energy. This is co-signed by Mercury retrograde, where we could be thinking more so about the past. And it's like, I've come so far. I've come so far. And that is something that is worthy of celebration. So for some of you with the Cancer full moon, trine Saturn, there's this energy around, I'm proud of this life that I've built. I'm proud that I followed my intuition. I'm proud of what it is that I've cultivated within this arena of my life. There could be complicated emotions that exist within you, bittersweet emotions that exist within you, right? That surface around, I miss this phase of my life. I'm so sad for the younger version of myself that I had to go through that. I'm so proud of myself for building what it is that I have now. I'm so sad of the people who aren't here to see this iteration of my life. Like there could be lots of many emotions that do surface, but it feels good to cry. If you want to cry, it's a release, okay? I'm a big advocate for crying. There's nothing wrong with crying, okay? And I really don't think it's going to be sad tears necessarily. That may be the case for some, Chiron stationing direct, which sometimes can be some spiky emotions kind of surfacing within. But to me, with the Cancer full moon, sextile Jupiter and trining Saturn, just this illumination around, dang, I know my past more than anyone else, and I know how it is that I've overcame that. I'm so proud of myself. Maybe I'm not exactly where it is that I want to be, but I'm closer than where it is that I have been, and I'm cultivating that energy around being proud and being happy now, knowing that it's not awaiting me at the next, essentially, iteration. And with the Cancer full moon, sometimes there can be spotlights on our physical home, but also the home of our spirit. You can feel more in touch with your intuition. And you'll want to look at the Cancer full moon territory of your chart to see what's receiving this lunar spotlight and which emotions are coming to the surface. And that's why I love Cancer energy so much, because a lot of people will say Cancers are moody. They are responsive, okay? They respond and they notice the energetic and emotional nuances that many of us miss. You might like say to your, Cancer placement, why are you tearing up? But again, they notice the nuances of the cookies that are baking in the oven smell exactly like a memory from their childhood. childhood, and they're observing how this person is coming out of their shell and feeling more at ease, and they just love the people in the room so much. Like, again, they're typically responding to something. When you notice the oscillations in their mood, you could be like, where did that come from? But it's always from something. They respond. They're ruled by the moon after all, which is continually waxing and waning, changing signs, changing phases. So the energy of Cancer full moon is very tapped into the energy of what it is that they are surrounded by, and they respond emotionally accordingly, which is why they're such great nurturers. So what I want to say with the Cancer full moon, there could be a spotlight on nurturing yourself, a spotlight on your emotions, a spotlight on your intuition, on your traditions, on nostalgia, allowing the Cancer full moon to pour into yourself, to be genuinely proud of what it is that you've built, sure, on the outside with the Capricorn sun, but being extra proud of what you have built on the inside. The tenacity, the strength, the kindness, the love that has had to be the case for you to build and create the life that you have. And you know, on the topic of debates, like we were talking about within the vibe check, a hill that I am willing to die on, a strongly held opinion that I have within my universe is I am very pro crying. I am a fan of crying. There is nothing wrong with crying. That is your body wanting a release. Oftentimes your body is feeling stressed and it just wants to get some energy out of your system, and it can feel really good to cry. And it's not just because you are sad. Like, oftentimes there can be a myriad of emotions that are welled within your tears. To just call it blanket sad isn't looking at the nuances, the shades that could factor into it. Like, there could be bittersweet emotions around, I'm so proud of myself that I achieved this and that I built this family and I built my life, but I'm also sad when I contemplate what it is that I had to release or how this holiday looks different than other holiday seasons. I'm so proud of myself for what it is that I overcame within the year ahead. Like, there just can be so many components within our tears. Sometimes we can cry when we are just feeling full of love, full of gratitude, full of appreciation around the chapter that we are tying up. All I want to say, it's a full moon in a water sign, so if you do feel inclined to cry, whether it's tears of laughter, tears of joy, tears of anger, whatever it is, allow your body this release, allow it this renewal, because also on Tuesday at 7:43 p.m. PST, Chiron, the comet of the wounded healer, stations direct. So we feel planets, or in this case comets, comet representation, okay? We feel planets or comets strongly when they do shift direction. So it's important to highlight when we're talking about outer planets, when we're talking about Chiron, they are more commonly retrograde in the year than they are direct. So it's not the hugest deal when there is a certain planet retrograde, just in case you're wanting to like ever launch something and you're like, oh my gosh, but Chiron's retrograde and everything direct. Not necessarily, unless you're launching something that is Chironian. I just want to highlight that because that's something that a lot of people will come to me around. I want to launch my business this date, but Uranus is retrograde. I'm like, there's always something, whether that's in life, like there's always something that needs to be fixed around the house. There's always a problem that you have. There's always some sort of connection you need to repair. Like, there is always something. Like, it's very rare that all of the planets are cooperating in the most perfect, alignment possible. There's always some transit on the horizon that you're not particularly looking forward to. There's always something within your solar return chart that's not ideal. There's always something within your life that's not ideal. There's always something. And when you can make peace with that around, there is always something that I could be freaked out about or worried about. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying, understanding that that's just the nature of life. That's just the experience of being a human. And when you make peace with there's always something, you allow yourself to be present within the unfolding of everything. Honestly, all of the nuances, the good, the bad. But back to my original point. With Chiron stationing direct, this flips the direction as it relates to our wounding, our healing journey. And so with Chiron retrograde, there could have been contemplations over the past couple months, since July 2023 to be exact. And Chiron retrograde turns the lens inward. Chiron is where it is that we are healing, but furthermore, what it is that we are doing with that wound, or how it is that we are alchemizing those parts to our journey, those parts of our sensitivity. And when we think back to the vibe check, it's like, yes, what you said was a little harsh. It was a little blunt, but you didn't particularly know the vulnerabilities that she was battling. Like, there's always something. There's always something also within your own self that you can tear yourself apart around. There's always something that you could feel insecure about. There's always something that you could tear yourself apart as well. I want to say that with Chiron switching from being retrograde to stationing direct, because we know the energy of retrograde turns itself inward. So you could have found since July 2023, particularly in the Aries territory of your chart, you could have found that you were kind of contemplating inward, or even just like really in your head or introspecting around where it is that you feel like you are flawed, or what it is that you do not like about yourself. There's always something that you could tear yourself apart about, right? Have you ever experienced that? Where you're talking to the most beautiful person and they share, oh, I just feel so insecure, like don't look at me, and you're like, you? Like you? There's always something that we could tear ourselves apart about. Or even someone who you find so funny and so charismatic and so fun at parties, and then you're driving back with them, they're like, oh, I was so awkward, I was so weird. Did everyone like hate me at that party? And you're like, you? No, not at all. With Chiron switching directions, and again, Chiron's in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is weaponry, as I highlighted. It's important to understand that with it switching direction, there might be this energy to take this Mars energy rather than being so harsh on ourselves and coming inward and hyper analyzing all of the reasons we're not perfect and all the reasons we're flawed and awkward and ugly and any other like swords that we are throwing at ourselves, tearing ourselves down. There's an invitation to take that out. And again, not towards other people. That's not what I'm saying, but more so around how it is that we are focusing more so on our outer world and less so in our own head, around our own faults, around our own flaws, around understanding that truly nobody is thinking about you as much as you are thinking about you. And again, that could be sad, like, why are people thinking about me? But it can also be freeing. I promise to you, no one noticed that weird comment that you said at that party. Nobody noticed that your toes look weird in flip-flops. Like these small things that we just tear ourselves down about, I guarantee nobody notices. Everybody's so absorbed within their own universe, they do not notice it. And if you've been blocking yourself from new experiences because you don't want to go to the beach because your toes look like that in flip-flops, or you don't want to go to parties because you're like, everyone's going to make fun of me. With Chiron Direct, it's not letting those insecurities or inadequacies hold you back any longer. Because when we talk about Chiron, I love Chiron's mythology. I deeply recommend to dive into it because I won't have time within Magic Monday to tell you the entire tale, and I truly could talk about it for like 2 hours. I love Chiron, but what I want to summarize the tale of Chiron by telling you is that the energy of Chiron, it doesn't stop with the wound. It doesn't stop with the inadequacies. It doesn't stop with where it is that we are flawed or where it is that we are not good enough. Like Chiron could have been very jaded, could have been like, well, F you all, because Chiron was, bullied and ostracized and wounded. Chiron could have gave up on life and just came inward and just obsessed about, being half centaur and half human. The whole story is kind of odd. I'm warning you there if anybody does take a deep dive into it. It's very odd. But Chiron didn't let his origin story hold him back. He became this amazing healer, astrologer. Actually, there was all of these gifts that came when he was able to honor the wisdom that the wound had given him, but not identify himself purely with the wound, or furthermore, not allowing the wound to hold him back. He still went out into the world. He still took his gifts and abilities out into the world. And so with Chiron Direct, I just want to say, if you've just been in your own head, insecure, you have goals for 2024, but you're like, does everybody see these flaws and inadequacies the way that I do? They don't. And this is your cosmic invitation to not let those things hold you back any longer. Perhaps within the vibe check, like, yes, what you said was a little harsh, right? To Ariel. It was a little harsh. It came off a little intense when you said, well, obviously you would say that because you don't care what it is that you are dressed like. Like that's been something that she's internally been processing and just beating herself up around. Why can't you figure out your aesthetic? Everybody else knows how to dress, but you don't have the budget to dress and nothing looks good on you and everybody thinks your body looks weird. And so when she heard that comment, it affirmed something that was part of her internal loop. But again, when you guys were able to have that conversation, when you're able to cry about it, right? This happens on the same day as the Cancer full moon. There was this illumination around the insecurity, and maybe in the dialogue with you, she's really open, be like, okay, let me not let this hold me back any longer. Let me just find my own authentic way of expressing myself, of styling myself. Because Chiron's in Aries. Aries is the most pure, raw, instinctual side of ourselves. So if you've been beating yourself up because of those components around, why do I laugh so loud? Or like, why do I tell weird fun facts when I'm at the function? Or like, why do my toes look like that? I want toe surgery. Like beating up against the parts of us that are just natural, that are just organic, that are just us. Like with Chiron in Aries, there can be an energy around wanting to hide these raw components of ourselves. But with Chiron Direct, it's like, let me just tap into the magic that is my authentic expression. And let me just stop caring so much. That's the invitation of Chiron Direct. It's just kind of getting out of our own head and not letting what we perceive as our inadequacies or insecurities hold us back any longer. That's the invitation with Chiron stationing direct. Now, also on Tuesday, I want to illuminate that at 11:43 p.m., Mercury will square off with Neptune. And again, this could be the misunderstanding thing. Like when we are in that easily triggered or insecure perspective, we can sometimes read into things that are not being said. Again, all you said was, of course you would say that, Ariel, because you don't care what it is that you look like, and she heard something different. Again, this happens right after the Chiron energy. So there could be certain emotions or spiky energy that emerges within you that causes you to read into what's being said, what's not being said. Your mind could be playing tricks on you, convincing you of all these different scenarios. Ariel could feel like on her side of the table, like, wow, does everybody just think I don't know how to dress? Does everybody just think I look hideous right now? Like, again, that's not the truth. But when we are in that more kind of like triggered perspective around beating ourselves up, sometimes it's easier to read into things. Like you could be at that party and people over there are laughing. And because you're in your own head, you're like, they're laughing at me. They are looking at my toes. They're making fun of my toes right now as we are speaking because I dared to wear flip-flops here. Again, we can assign meaning to things where they're actually laughing about something totally different than your toes. They weren't even looking at your toes. No one's looking at your toes, okay? No one's looking at your toes. But with Mercury square Neptune, we could be reading into things and making assumptions and things of that nature. Keep in mind, Mercury also aligns with Mars, which could make us more reactive or more assertive, like going up to that group of girls at the party and being like, why are you guys being so mean? Why are you laughing at my toes? And they're like, we were laughing about what happened to her at the gym yesterday. Like we could be more reactive at this time, reading into things because of our own sensitivity. So that's just something important to be mindful of, is not letting your mind play tricks on you. Like Neptune is imaginary. And of course, you could be dreaming about what is. You could feel like you're in a more dreamy headspace. That's a beautiful illumination of this energy. But sometimes with Mercury meeting up with the malefic and then squaring Neptune, you could be reading into things that make you mad or creating hypothetical situations within your mind that are stretching a situation to be something that it is not. The likelihood for miscommunications can be a bit higher on Tuesday. And I would just say with Mercury square Neptune, it wouldn't be the ideal time to have important conversations or even sign anything, make any decisions. Like with Mercury square Neptune, our head's kind of in la la land. But also say with Mercury square Neptune, being mindful of deceit, being mindful of lies. We know that Mercury in Sagittarius is very honest and blunt, but the square to Neptune, you know, there could be some tall tales, okay? There could be some white lies. So on Wednesday, the 27th, the Capricorn Sun will trine Jupiter in Taurus at 7:28 a.m., which does start our Wednesday on a very optimistic, expansive note. You could be tapping into energy of feeling excited about what it is that you are building, and furthermore, getting excited about who it is that you are becoming within the process of building. Because that's the true gift of achieving what it is that you want. It's not about the thing that you get, it's about the version of yourself that you had to be to attain that thing. The accomplishment itself can be taken at any moment, right? Like anything can change at any moment. I think I'm thinking about that because the Sun's in Capricorn, Jupiter is in Taurus, Pluto is wrapping up its journey in Capricorn, Uranus has been transiting Taurus. These are two planets that remind us just how transient a lot of experiences are, that things can be, taken or shaken up within our universe at any point in time, right? And things can be taken. But what cannot be taken is the person you had to become to either get to that particular achievement or to be able to keep going after something did occur within your universe. No one can take that from you. So yes, appreciate the nice things, appreciate the life that you have built, appreciate the success that you have built, appreciate how much you were able to give this year. If you were able to give a lot this year, appreciate all of that, but equally appreciate what work had to happen on the inside for you to become the person person who was able to give all that you gave, who was able to create the home that you have created, to create the art that who you have created, the obstacles you have overcame to be able to get to the end of 2023. Equally appreciate the who, not just the what, that exists within your world. And with Sun trine Jupiter, take some time and space to celebrate yourself. It does make achieving our dreams and goals more sustainable. With Sun trine Jupiter, it would be a great time to celebrate yourself, celebrate the fruits of your labor, whatever that may be, whether that's an afternoon off, a delicious dinner, a nice bubble bath, relishing in the pleasures of being a human being, having a human body. Don't get me wrong, humanity is a lot, and sometimes it's like, why did I agree to come here and like have this experience? But in other ways, earthy trines like this can remind us like, oh, it's actually pretty cool to be a human. Sometimes to be on this beautiful hike, or to, hot tub, or to eat something delicious, or to feel the inner sense of accomplishment that we have achieved one of our goals. There's just an energy around feeling proud of ourselves, the person that we are becoming. Again, there's always something. There's always another goal that you could reach, or something else that you could be doing even better, but it's just this energy around making peace with that. Like, there is always something I could improve about myself, but dang, I really like myself and I'm really proud of myself. That's the vibe. And I will recommend on Wednesday, I would do something active if possible, because we have that earthy trine, which again could be really tapping into enjoying your body. You could be making delicious foods around beautiful environments. Some of you, if you are working this week, this could be a really productive, efficient energy. I would move some energy physically, because also on the same day we have Mercury aligning with Mars. So there could be a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. With Sun trine Jupiter, some of you could be already in 2024. You're like, let's go. I'm ready. 2023, maybe I slayed some of my goals, maybe I didn't, but I'm ready for what I'm going to achieve within the year ahead and the who I'm going to become in the year ahead. And your mind could be firing off around, should I have a podcast? Should I write a book? Like, you can have a lot of ideas and contemplations that you are thinking about. Again, Mercury and Mars are aligning in Sagittarius, which can sometimes be a little overly optimistic, right? And with Sun trine Jupiter, we can be really optimistic about our bandwidth and how much we can take on, but enjoy the brainstorming sesh, okay? With Mercury Mars, write down some ideas. But the reason I said to get physical is because with Mercury Mars, your mind could just be busy, 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 busy. All of the thoughts. And like I said, with Mercury separating from Neptune, lots of dreamy, imaginary ideas would be the positive manifestation of this, but it also could be fearing and freaking out all sorts of things, making up all sorts of scenarios. And I've found that a really helpful way to alleviate Mercury Mars energy is to move some energy physically in order to calm your mind. If you have Mercury Mars within your birth chart, I would deeply recommend having some sort of exercise practice within your universe. It can be very helpful because Mercury is constantly being burned out by Mars's proximity to it. And it's not really letting Mercury have peace. And keep in mind, Mercury is our mental space. So with Mercury Mars, yes, these can be individuals who are very persuasive with their language. They think fast, they talk with their hands. I'm not naming any names, but there's an astrologer that I know of who may or may not have this aspect. And with Mercury Mars, these individuals can communicate with passion, but with Mercury Mars, their minds can be constantly going. And so on Wednesday, you can just observe a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. Another manifestation of that, because Mercury Mars is very quick, our words can be quick as well. And like I said, if we are in that more kind of like stressed or sensitive headspace, sometimes with Mercury Mars, we could be on the offense and thinking that other people are in our own thoughts and in our own insecurities and in our own inadequacies, right? And firing back. It can also be an energy like where you blurt something out that's a little too honest, okay? It's in Sagittarius. Like, there's shades of what you said to Ariel at that party that may have been true. She has not really shown an interest in fashion up to this point, but it came off in a very abrasive way. Like, that could be the energy of Mercury Mars. So as you're navigating your day, like mentally, yes, there could be an energy of feeling inspired, but you could also be feeling more angry or frustrated. You could be experiencing more road rage on Wednesday. You could be more reactive verbally on Wednesday. Again, like yelling at somebody if they cut you off, or, snapping back at the cashier because you misunderstood what they said, or snapping at a friend because you misunderstood, or maybe just a lot is stressing you out mentally. So then when your partner makes a comment, you just like kind of snap back. Again, we could be misdirecting the sass. Let me say that. We could be misdirecting the sass, and things could be coming off a lot sharper than we necessarily intended for it to come across. And that occurs at 4:31. So definitely get a workout in so that you can soothe the mind. You can have some insomnia sometimes. Hopefully the Neptune energy counteracts that. Neptune energy tends to make us more sleepy, but with Mercury, Mars, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, a lot could be permeating in here. I would just say work with this energy as fuel. Write down ideas, brainstorm with someone else. This could be very conversational. And again, we do have Sun trine Jupiter, so there can be this energy around getting excited about what could be. So try to direct this energy towards the more constructive energy of Mars, around what projects you want to give this mental energy towards, around what ideas you want to launch, rather than using this as more destructive energy of Mars, being mean to yourself, being mean to others, overthinking, anything of that nature. And so from a lunar perspective, I firstly want to share that we're in the full moon recovery phase. Okay, so you could feel full moon hungover. Sometimes full moons make it so it's much harder to sleep. Like again, that Mercury, Mars, overthinking, being all over the place kind of energy. And sometimes we can feel drained, like we cannot even keep our eyes open. Listen to your body, listen to your emotions, listen to what it is that you need. With the Cancer moon squaring Chiron, there can be some little like ouch emotions. Again, with the Cancer moon, sometimes we could be contemplating the past, and with the square to Chiron, contemplating how the now looks different than how things used to look in the past, right? With Mercury retrograde, sometimes there can be, reading of old journals and looking at old photos. And sometimes it's nice to go down memory lane, and sometimes it can be kind of painful. And that evening with the Cancer moon sextile Uranus and Taurus, find new ways of nurturing yourself, rather than, if you're having a lot of stress within your mind, rather than just like sitting there and obsessing about it, or going deep on Reddit about the particular problem, or whatever else is swirling within your mind. This is an invitation to do something to switch the energy, right? With Mercury, Mars, it can be constructive or destructive. If you notice it's going down that destructive path, see where it is that you can shift your mental space towards a little bit more constructive thoughts or energy. So on Thursday, December 28th, we have a grand water trine aligning in the sky, linking the waning Cancer full moon, Venus in Scorpio, and Neptune in Pisces. Since Venus and Neptune trined earlier in the week, it's now separating, but the three get together, and this is such a loving flow of energy. Think about the planets involved: the moon, Venus, and Neptune. Granted, Venus is not in territory that she particularly likes to be in, but you cannot deny Venus in Scorpio loves deeply, loves intensely, loves in a more all-consuming energy. And with the trine to Neptune, like transcending because of that love. So on Thursday, great time for a date or to spend time with people that you adore. This is giving an energy, because we have Mars square Neptune on the same day, around just being able to be around your people that you could do nothing with, that you feel so comfy and so at ease with, that you could do absolutely nothing and say nothing with, like just having time and just wanting to, waste it or spend it with somebody else. That is such a special feeling, to just feel at home, to feel at ease with another human being, where you're able to do nothing and still enjoy the time, right? Other manifestations. This is such a beautiful day for art. Like the energy of water, yes, it's feeling things deeply. So some of you can be feeling a wide expanse of emotions, as I highlighted, but we do ourselves such a disservice if we think sad equals bad, must not feel sad. And I know a lot of times if you've been suppressing a lot of emotions, it can feel like opening Pandora's box if you dare to allow yourself to access those emotions or grant yourself the downtime in order to feel it. But I just want to say that when it comes to so much art that we consume, so many movies that we watch, so much even comedy that we enjoy, oftentimes it is created from a catharsis of some really intense emotions, right? It could be something that is so inspiring. Hence all my, from last week, all my sad poetry, right? When I got stood up, because those emotions were something that was inspiring. Now the poetry was bad. No one can deny the poetry was bad, but at least I was creating something with that sadness. And when we are able to take something that might not feel pleasant, but turn it into something else, that is alchemy. That is transmutation. That's what Venus in Scorpio is all about. And also, when you just think about watching a movie and when you cry at the end, do you think it was a bad movie because you cried, because sad equals bad? No, it's so beautiful to have access to brains and thoughts and concepts and ideas that allow us the full range of emotions that tap into a part of ourselves that makes us feel seen and heard and understood in new ways. And so I just want to say yes with the water crane trine. You can be feeling more emotional, but also contemplating what data those emotions are bringing to the surface, what inspiration those emotions can be bringing to the surface, or what inspiration those emotions can be bringing to the surface. Again, Venus is trine Neptune, trining Cancer moon. Some of you guys could be, writing a soliloquy about somebody from the past, or, writing a love letter. Like, it's not even to say writing, Mercury's not involved here, but there's this very loving, artistic, compassionate muse like energy that is infused within the cosmos. And yes, sometimes when we contemplate, lovers lost and connections that never got the opportunity to bloom into all that they could have been, it doesn't always elicit the most positive emotions. Sometimes there can be bittersweet emotions around regret, around, oh, why didn't I say something? Or, oh, why did I let that person go? Or, oh, why did things transpire in that way? But it also can be something so inspiring and something that we can transmute into something else. Great day to get lost in another world. I will definitely say, whether it's a piece of art, to, go for a long walk, preferably by the water with all this water energy, take a bath. You can feel more intuitive. You can feel more dialed in with source. It's important to be mindful around boundaries. When we have so much Neptune energy, we could be absorbing more of other people's stuff. Like I always say about water signs, okay? People think they can dump anything in water, okay? So you could find you're just trying to go to the bank and the person in front of you is trying to tell you about their cat and their uncle and their divorce and their childhood, and you're like, what? Where did all this come from? With all the energy of water, yes, we are more empathetic, we are more compassionate, making this day ideal for altruism and artistic endeavors and spiritual endeavors and whatnot. But you also can be needing to kind of protect your energy, to draw back, to take baths after being in crowded circumstances, or cleanse your energy, cleanse your field. If someone comes to you and kind of dumps on you, tells you all that they are moving through, sometimes you can absorb it. And that feels important to share with you because on the same day, we also have Mars square Neptune, which can be energy around feeling drained. It can be an energy around feeling defeated. We have cycles, we have rhythms. Maybe you're feeling drained because your body is requesting a winter period. It needs to withdraw energy, it needs to relax, it needs to restore itself. Or maybe you are navigating a cold, you're navigating a sickness, maybe you're navigating a chronic illness and there's physical reasons why you are feeling drained and tired. Listen to that. But what I want to share, in case you're like, I don't know why I feel so drained, why do I feel so exhausted? One other manifestation that I would extend your way is contemplating your energetic hygiene. Okay, because like I said, people think they can dump anything in water, and every time somebody dumps on you, like tells you their problems, or even if you do any sort of energy work, you kind of absorb parts of that. And it's so important to close off and seal off your energy and return to sender, or else it's going to muddy and confuse your energy field, and you will pay the price by feeling drained, depleted, confused, murky. I want to share a couple of techniques that have been helpful for me. If you work with the general public, I would deeply recommend doing a little visualization exercise before work and after work. I would do it in my car. I had a spray. It's not necessary. You can also do visualization or anything else that aligns for you. But simply what I would do is I would be in my car and I would just start to visualize the auric bubble around me. And if I was feeling very drained and exhausted and I just really needed to be in self-preservation mode, I would pull that auric field very close to my body, very protectively. If I was stepping into something where I needed to be very magnetic, I needed to be very persuasive, I would extend that auric field away from my body. In times that I wanted to feel super charismatic and really draw people in, I would extend it far. But during the visualization, you could just see anything that tries to come into your auric field just bounce right off, right? Bounce right off. And then I would spray. Again, you don't necessarily have to, but I would charge a little spray myself. And doing that before and after work really helped me close off and energetically seal taking on my clients' problems and, my coworkers' problems and all of the things. Because I was like, why am I always so drained, so tired all of the time. There's no physical reason that I should be. From my experience in that time of my life, it's because energetically I was not taking care of myself. And you can also do it at the beginning of the day and the end of the day as well, just having a little ritual. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just something that kind of pulls your energy in and protects yourself. And I would definitely say if you do any sort of energetic work, definitely having a little ritual before the consultation begins and after it ends to just allow yourself to thank your client for this experience and send their energy back. I want to say for any astrologers who are watching this, yes, charts are energetic and that will stay within your field until you return to sender. And you'll notice it pop up in different ways. Like before I knew that and was good at energetic hygiene, I would just randomly be living my life and be like, oh, my ballet recital's coming up. And then I'm like, I'm not a ballerina. That's Felicity, who I met with yesterday. Why is her energy here? Like it'll pop up in weird ways and it can lead to you feeling more drained or more exhausted or having more people kind of pulling on your energy. And it also does them a service as well to just be able to close out the consultation, end it with gratitude and give their energy back to themselves. You can also lean on certain resources like crystals, sprays, baths are really great. I love taking baths, especially salt baths after readings, things of that nature. You gotta take care of your energy because when you're taking on too much, especially for other people's, there can be this energy around feeling very, very drained, depleted, and really confused. Neptune energy can make things very, very confusing. And the times that you are the most charismatic and magnetic are the times that you are just fully sovereign within your own experience, within your own magnetism, within your own charisma, and don't have all of these like tethered energies all around you. So anyways, just some tips from me, but you guys also have really great tips as well. So let me know in the comments, what are some tips that you utilize to protect your energy? I would love to know. And also when we talk about Mars square Neptune, there can be that energy around being on the offense, right? That's Mars. With the square to Neptune, either motives being unclear, there can be an energy around misdirecting it in some sort. There can be an energy around maybe you're rightfully upset about something and kind of like letting it go. Like Neptune can kind of bring this heart-centered forgiveness energy, and maybe you're not ready to totally forgive, but with Mars square Neptune, you just do because it's easier than battling. Like this would not be the day to necessarily stand up to, you know, your bully. Like with Mars square Neptune, you could be so tapped in with their experience and empathize so deeply with them that you're like, oh, it's okay, because you know what it is that you've gone through. Like just because they've gone through what it is that they've gone through doesn't mean that that warrants their behavior of you. I feel like that's so important to say with all this Neptune energies. Just because you understand something and understand someone's motives and why they would treat you the way that they do does not make their treatment of you okay. Does that make sense with the energy of Neptune? Again, a lot of times when we're holding on to wrath or anger, it is more so hurting ourselves. I'm not saying you need to, you know, not forgive ever, but I'm just saying with Mars square Neptune, if there is a boundary that you have a hard time enacting, just knowing Thursday, you could have a harder time. With the square to Neptune, the boundaries could feel murky and blurry, and it could be harder for us to advocate for ourselves. And so with that water grand trine and Mars square Neptune, great day to flow. See where inspiration takes you. Take a line action if need be. Maybe a line action takes you to bed for a nap. Maybe that takes you to a movie marathon. Wherever it takes you is where you need to go. Just continue to affirm like spirit, intuition. What is it that I need to do to refill my own cup, right? This is all this water energy. How can I pour into myself in order to rejuvenate? And parts of that are echoed with Venus in Scorpio, sextile Pluto in Capricorn later in the night at 10:01 to be exact. So this was part of the vibe check because it strengthened your bond. When you and Ariel had that discussion, it strengthened your bond. It strengthened her healing journey, right? With Chiron Direct, she got out of her head around, oh, nobody's thinking about my style. Like that was not a personal attack that you said to me. You were just stating that I've not shown a particular interest in fashion. You didn't know internally all of the trials and tribulations. And with Chiron Direct, there's this clearance forward towards healing. Now with Venus sextile Pluto, it's this reminder that our bonds are constantly evolving and transforming. And sometimes when we have certain experiences like that, where we accidentally do say something that hurts someone's feelings, it can present this new opportunity to grow the connection within a new way. Because I just want to say, if you're in a relationship and they continually do the same things over and over, they say things that they know will hurt you or something of that nature, that is not fighting fighting forward. Like, there's nothing wrong with conflict necessarily by its own means. There's something wrong with seeing things differently, but there is a problem if someone is intentionally inflicting harm on you over and over and over again. When I say fighting forward, I mean more so being able to have these discussions or have these conversations and see it as an opportunity for growth. With Venus sextile Pluto around, wow, I didn't realize that upset you so much when I said that. I will transform how it is that I show up, or I'll transform how it is that I love you, or show appreciation for our relationship or our friendship. Like with Venus sextile Pluto, there can be this reminder in the ways that our connection is transforming, and perhaps for some of you, the ways that we are transforming within the connection, right? Those are the best people to have within our universe, are the people who are the expanders, right? The people who can inspire us to level up, and not in a way where it's like competitive, but true expanders, people who inspire us with their compassion, with their spiritual connection, with their honesty, right? Like, the truest friends that you will have within your universe aren't people who are going to tiptoe around you and not be honest with you, right? Sometimes friends will hurt your feelings. Again, it's not okay if they're purposely doing that, but sometimes friends will tell you the truth, even if it is a little bit of an ouch, right? Because they love you and they want you to be the best version of yourself. With Venus sextile Pluto, it's just a reminder around appreciating and aligning to the souls who do encourage you to grow, whether that's online or IRL. Okay, just appreciating the friendships and relationships that transform as you do, and appreciating how there are certain connections within your universe that do inspire you to level up, that do inspire you to transform. And also just appreciating, because like I said, Mercury retrograde, sometimes we could be reflecting on the past, we could be reconnecting on the past. This is also sort of sprinkled into the vibe check around appreciating the people and the friends in your universe who have gotten to experience multiple shades, multiple iterations of who it is that you are. And it's so special to be able to know the middle school self and the high school self and the grown up self, and however that shows up. So powerful to have these connections that transform us, and where we're able to reconnect and feel like no time has gone by, right? Like, time has gone by and we've transformed in all these ways, but there's also familiar aspects as well. It's special to have those connections.
How much filmers do you have left?
I still have another video.
Another long video?
Not too long.
Oh, my face. You've been working too much, my little babe.
I know. Tomorrow's the last of the 12 Days of Cosmos.
Okay, it's a great series, though. People are going to love.
Thank you, love. And Venus is also money. So I also just want to share that you can always make more money. You cannot get time back. If you've been in your head around, oh, I shouldn't have spent money on this or what have you, with Venus sextile Pluto, there's this invitation to just let it go, to trust that you will make more money, that times will change. Okay, if you're in a challenging financial position, I know the end of the year can be a lot on a lot of us, but with Venus sextile Pluto, it's just a reminder, money has the ability to be able to be regenerated. That's very Venus Scorpio coded. And so if you are swallowed up by guilt around money you should have spent, or totaling up your entire year and been like, I should have been making more, with Venus sextile Pluto, it's a reminder to prioritize your life around what it is that you truly value. Obviously, money is something that is important within society, but also tuning into the wealth that you have in other arenas of life, the wealth of love that exists within your life, the wealth of ideas, the wealth of creativity that exists within your universe, the wealth of time, the wealth of health, whatever wealth you have, that is just as valuable. You will make more money, you will make it back, times will change. There's a need to believe in the power of regeneration. I just want to say, please rest on Thursday if you're feeling inclined to rest without guilt. We see, like I said, with Mars square Neptune, you could be feeling more tired, okay, more drained. And we also see with Cancer moon opposing Pluto after that grand water trine, you could be beating yourself up for craving more space or more nourishment at this moment. Okay, you are a human being. Just as you take care of your plants and your pets and your children, you also need to take care of yourself with whatever it is that you need to give yourself. So please do not beat yourself up or be too harsh on yourself if you are feeling a little bit more drained. And then the moon will be void from 2:57 until 4:23, at which point the moon enters Leo, which is heart-centered, which is creative. On Friday, the 29th, we have a a very Jupiterian day because the moon will square off with Jupiter in Taurus in the morning time. And then also we have Venus entering Sagittarius, which is a Jupiter ruled sign. And now Venus is peregrine. So Venus did not particularly enjoy being in Scorpio. Sure, there's lots of gifts to it, that very dreamy, imaginative energy of Neptune in Pisces, that transformative energy of Pluto in Capricorn. But Venus is about things that feel nice and feel pleasurable. And Venus in Scorpio sometimes asks us to make peace with some intense realities about connection and about experiences and about emotions. And with Venus in Sagittarius, there can be this more expansive energy, this adventurous energy coming into our connections around wanting to travel with our lover, or with Venus in Sagittarius, if you're single, wanting to get out there and connect, date people that you hadn't dated before. Ultimately, to an internal level, you could just feel like there is this more adventurous energy. You could be wanting to spend more of your leisure time expanding out into the world. Like Venus in Scorpio went deep, Venus in Sagittarius explores wide. And that could be weaving into your love life, into your aesthetic as well. You could be trying new things or more expansive. You could be more adventurous. You could be being more honest on your dates, or more blunt when it comes to your dates. We now have a lot of the energy in the cosmos in Sagittarius. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of passion in the cosmos. And now from a lunar perspective, you can be being a little extra. We know the energy of Leo. It can be a little dramatic. And with the square to Jupiter, we could be feeling things more intensely. We can also be more generous. And generosity shows up in many different shades. We could be generous with our time, generous with our money, generous with our energy, generous with our compliments, really seeking to empower where it is that you can give and share towards others. Like think about Leo's ruler, the sun, who gives light every single day without us asking. Like this could be a very warming energy. And like I said, with the grand water trine, when we contemplate that there's so many people who are moving through so much intensity within this world, people are really going through it. With the energy of Leo moon, contemplating where it is that you can give and share your light towards others to ease other people's suffering, even just with those small moments of bright kindness or however that shows up. But also you might be in need of someone to kind of hype you up. With moon square Jupiter, expands our emotions for better and for worse. You can be deeply craving nourishment, eating a lot, not even shopping a lot. You can find that a trip for returns goes awry when you just went there to return one present you didn't like, and then you accidentally fell into the shoe section, and then you accidentally tripped your way over to buy them, and somehow your credit card flew out of your wallet. Listen, it happens to all of us. But all I'm saying is that Friday, if you are on a budget and you're not wanting to indulge your every women fancy, Friday might not be the great time to shop, because there's an energy with the Leo moon then trining Chiron in Aries. Like, I deserve this. Like, I've had such a year. I deserve 3 pairs of shoes, which like you do. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes the energy of Leo moon, it is the archetype of royalty. And sometimes we can be, ballin' like we are royalty, and then realizing, oops, that was a little beyond my means. So that's all I want to say about that energy. Also with the Leo moon trine Chiron, also just contemplating ways that you can pour into your inner child, do things creative that just make you feel alive, do things that are lighthearted and fun. Again, with all this Neptune energy, find things that you just melt in. They say within positive psychology that one of the highest predictors of true well-being within life is having activities where you have flow state, where you are fully immersed in that task at hand. And that's going to look different for everyone. It could be when you play an instrument, when you are hiking, when you are laughing with a friend. It's those activities that you do where it's just nothing but you in that activity. And it's important both for our own happiness as well as for our own inner child to have those things where we pause on all the to-dos and all the things that we have to accomplish and allow ourselves the space to feel. It's not just about the doing, it's also about the feeling. So on Saturday, December 30th, Jupiter stations direct, which is so nice because, as I highlighted, we have a lot of the cosmos in Sagittarius currently. So a lot of the cosmos is answering to Jupiter. Saturn's also answering to Jupiter. And so now the planet of expansion, growth, and luck is moving forward. And it's a reminder that your life is moving forward as well. Sometimes there can be sensations with Mercury retrograde, like we are being stagnant or we are not making progress. This is an important week to honor, I am making progress and things are evolving, things are moving forward. If you have been suspended in being unsure around where it is that you want to grow. You're like, I want to accomplish something big within 2024, but I don't know what would have the most meaning for me. Jupiter Direct can shine a spotlight on that, particularly when you look at the Taurus section of your chart. There can be illuminations around where it is that you are seeking to grow or to expand within that arena. And just knowing we all have periods of expansion and contraction, just appreciating the season that you are in with the lessons that it may have, you are still moving forward. Your journey is not linear. Sometimes you have to take loop-de-loops and you go over here and you're making this path your own. And it's safe for you to be optimistic about what could be. I feel like some of you have been so disappointed by life that it's almost felt safer to just not feel anything or not set your expectations because you just feel let down every single time. I'm feeling into this because, like I said, it's a very emotional week, and some of you might prefer to not feel anything rather than give yourself access to the highs and lows of this human experience. And with Jupiter Direct, perhaps you're scared to be optimistic or to anticipate a new year, just feeling like it's going to be the same as the years before. But with Jupiter stationing direct, it's giving yourself the courage to continue to believe in a more beautiful future, to allow yourself to get excited about what could be. I think it's very pure to be excited about what could be. Sometimes plans don't transpire as we thought they would, but it's still beautiful and wholesome and pure to allow yourself to get excited, to live life big. Okay, we've got the largest planet of the solar system stationing direct. Dare to live life big, dare to feel big, dare to have big experiences, dare to have big letdowns, because that's part of the human experience, is the range. Speaking of things not going according to plan, I just want to say the Leo moon does square Uranus in the morning time, so there can be something unexpected, whether it's unexpected emotions or unexpected happenings or unexpected technical difficulties. Guys, how has your Mercury retrograde been? I would love to know below. I'm burning my Survive Mercury retrograde candle because that is all I'm trying to do is survive Mercury retrograde and get through the rest of 2023. But all I'm saying, the Leo moon squaring Uranus can bring technical issues of some sort or weather disturbances, something of that nature. But then the Leo moon trines Mercury in Sagittarius and trines Mars in Sagittarius. Not every debate is bad. I know within the vibe check that dinner party kind of descended into a little bit of chaos, but sometimes it's nice to have debates. Sometimes it can help you clarify how it is that you feel. Sometimes you can learn about the other person's perspective. Like I was saying within connections, it's not helpful to be surrounded by yes people. It's actually helpful to be around people who will challenge your perspective a little bit. It helps clarify how it is that you feel about a certain situation or about a certain topic. But I would say definitely Saturday would be a great time for new experiences, exploration, doing what feels good for you and your heart space with the Leo moon. So on Sunday, the 31st, the moon will enter Virgo at 3:53 a.m. So I know all week I've been like, be in the moment, enjoy the present, nap if you want. You know, Sunday would be a great day to handle all those errands and to-dos that you might have been putting off all week, which again is important. You deserve to enjoy your life. But with the energy of the moon entering Virgo, going on to promptly oppose Saturn, there could be energy around, oh my gosh, how did my laundry get this tall? How did this place get so messy? How did my work tasks get so much? And this would be a good day to handle the errands and the to-dos and the cleaning. There are different New Year's days superstitions and honorings and traditions. I would love to know if you have any, or your family has any, or your heritage has any that are sacred in terms of essentially celebrating the new year. From an astrological standpoint, it's just a digit change. New starts are new moons. Right now, we're still in the waning full moon energy, so it's not necessarily about new initiatives and new ideas. Again, do what feels right and how it is that you want to honor the new year, but I just want to share that astrological perspective. But yeah, there's all sorts of traditions around New Year's Day to honor, like, for example, the color underwear that you're wearing at midnight. Like, I know pink if you want a year ahead of love, yellow, I want to say prosperity, white, I want to say peace. So that's a great indication. That's a great little way to supercharge the new year if you want. And then I've also heard not to clean on New Year's Day, which is going to be hard this year because the moon will be in Virgo. So if you want to get any cleaning done, maybe handle that New Year's Eve. But let me know, what are some traditions that you have grown up with around New Year's Eve? I would love to know. And it's funny because you can be feeling a battle between the Virgo moon, which wants to handle all the things, and Venus Sagittarius, which wants to party and adventure, right? With the Virgo moon opposite Saturn, do your tasks now so that you can party later. And with the Virgo moon trine Jupiter in Taurus, it's giving a fun New Year's Eve, okay? It's quite sensible. You likely won't be, too wild and crazy. The Virgo moon's gonna make sure, you drink water before you go to sleep, you eat a good meal, things of that nature, but definitely a celebratory vibe moving into the next year, 2024, my loves. So that is our forecast for the last week of 2023. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I am present in my memories as I make them. I'm completely aware that not everybody is celebrating the holiday this week. This might not be a significant week around a memory being made for you, but there is this spirit around just losing yourself and merging yourself within the present moment and just being able to make the most out of these experiences so that when we look back on the photos and reminisce on the memories of this particular time of our life, we remember just how deeply we felt into that moment, how much we absorbed it. And like I said, sometimes the emotions that we're feeling, it's a lot. There's a wide spectrum, but allowing yourself the gift of this present moment, right? That's the most special present of all, beyond all of the presents that might await under the tree. And some of you might be like, but Haley, Comet, I'm trying to get to the next season of my life. I don't want to be present in this chapter. There might be parts of this journey that you will reflect upon. This might be, within your memoir, what it is that you highlight. I was at this rock bottom, but I learned what I needed to learn from that season of my life. And now here I am now. Like, it's simply providing memoir content for you. So absorb the lessons. Absorb the emotions, learn from the lessons, learn from the emotions. That's why they're there. Give yourself the gift of feeling deeply, of experiencing deeply. This life can feel very harsh and cruel for the deep feelers, for the big feelers of this universe, but you are here to live richly and live intensely and live powerfully, and giving yourself the gift of being within this present moment as the next one unfolds and the next one unfolds and the next one unfolds. So my loves, that is our week. If you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and drop the little present emoji or use the word present within a sentence. I always love reading your guys' comments, and I so appreciate you watching towards the end. Again, I just want to echo out, thank you so much for being here, for gathering within the Cosmic Corner, for geeking out about astrology in the same way that I do, for letting me be myself. Honestly, I am so appreciative for each and every soul who has come into the Cosmic Corner at any point this year and in prior years and in future years. Thank you so much for being part of my universe. I am so grateful for you. So until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.